It's 8:30 on this Thursday morning, and that means it's time for our high beam. And this morning, we are welcoming in the Sheriff of Tuscarawas County, Orvis Campbell. Orvis, good morning. How are you?
I'm great, Brad. Thanks for having me in, as usual. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad we're stop on your shopping trip or whatever you were doing this morning. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we do like to have you come in and talk about things that are going on in the county. Now, not only necessarily bad things, but, you know, we do need to talk in that vein somewhat because you're the top law enforcement officer in the county. So what kind of things have been going on lately? And the big question, I guess, always is why?
Yeah, well, you know, I think if you follow the crime log and you look at the calls and things from the police departments and the sheriff's office, you know, it wasn't long ago that we were running 9,000 calls a year, and now we're running closer to 19,000 just a few years later. It's very busy. There's a lot of theft going on, and we believe most of that is fueled by addiction. I mean, we're having a ton of things like catalytic converters, you know, being cut off the bottom of cars. Part of that is just the value of those things. You know, those things, cutting off an old catalytic converter still bring, you know, $700 to $1,200 on the market.
Yeah.
So that's very tempting. That may be a little less addiction and a little more greed. But we're having quite a few cars that get stolen. You know, I guess one message to the folks is almost every single one of those have a key left inside. You know, lock those cars and get those keys out. We recover a lot of those cars in bigger towns like Canton and Akron, maybe in a drug area. So we believe, you know, we process those. Some we charge, some we solve. We get DNA, we get some evidence out of them. But those kind of things, and a lot of theft from cars, you know, even in nice neighborhoods, really nice neighborhoods. Someone walk up the street and pull every door and see what they can get out. And it can be a lucrative night. You know, there's a lot of valuable things left in there. In vehicles. So we see a lot of that. We see, you know, last week we had a couple of shootings one night out of an incident. You know, that incident specifically just was completely uncalled for. It was a situation blown completely out of proportion. Someone introduced a gun to a situation where it should have never been, and the individual, he claims accidentally shot the person that was fighting with a relative of his, and that bullet went through that person and shot his own father with one bullet, hitting two people. And, you know, that's the kind of thing where, you know, Tuscarawas County, there's a lot of guns in Tuscarawas County. It's a very pro-Second Amendment county. But, you know, gun ownership comes with a lot of responsibility. And, you know, a gun can be very detrimental, even for law enforcement. A law enforcement officer pulls his gun too soon, and he's in a wrestling match. Now he's stuck with a gun in his hand that the bad guy can get to, you know, and people need to think about that kind of thing. A lot of people believe that if you introduce a gun, everybody's going to get afraid and run. That doesn't happen. I can tell you numerous incidents. I can tell you of a robbery where a nearly 60-year-old woman working a midnight shift at a gas station. Guy walks in on camera, points a gun right in her face, and her immediate reaction was to lunge on the counter, grab the gun, and wrestle him for it. Now, afterwards, when the guy fled, she vomited. She was so upset. And, you know, those are things you got to take seriously. You got to introduce, you know, some other level of intervention other than guns so soon. But I'm certainly for people being able to protect themselves. You know, the Buckeye State Sheriff's Association has always supported concealed weapons, but it comes with a great amount of responsibility, and that was a case where that responsibility wasn't shown. We've seen some depression. We've been dealing with some increased depression. We believe that is something that is also sometimes addiction related, sometimes pandemic related.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to put an excuse on things, but people just kind of tell me they feel like they've been in a funk now for, you know, almost 2 years, and they can't really explain it, but nothing feels right. It feels like they're kind of just walking through the world with very little excitement, and other people seem to be able to handle it, you know, and do great with it. So I think, you know, the only advice I can give to people is surround yourself with good people and do good things for people, and it'll come back to you. And that's about it. But
well, you said so many things are addiction related. Maybe talk a little bit about how you're making an effort to reach younger people and tell them that the best way to get out of addiction is not to start.
Yeah.
And it would certainly be nice for them and for you, I know.
Yeah, we do a lot of programs where we talk to people. I mean, the Drug Task Force will, and I personally do an awful lot. And we just had someone join our office again that was been gone for many years, one of the great crime fighters of all time, but McGruff the Crime Dog, he's McGruff the Crime Dog, an anti-drug dog, is back. And we brought him back specifically. This generation's never heard of him, so it's kind of fun to reintroduce them to McGruff. But
is he still wearing the trench coat, by the way?
He is.
Okay.
He is. He's got that trench coat. I tell you, he doesn't seem to care about modern fashion at all. He's wearing exactly what he wore 30 years ago
Good.
I started. McGruff came about in the mid-'80s, was when he was created and was very popular. And we're bringing him back because we believe that we need an avenue to talk to kids below middle school. We believe we have to address that younger age. Now, typically, when we talk to that age, we don't talk about drugs. We don't talk to them so much about the dangers of methamphetamine and the dangers of heroin and fentanyl and how it's killing people. That's not age appropriate for them. We just talk to them about healthy choices. We'll typically reference the general term drugs as being bad for you because I think they hear that term pretty young now. You know, my son's 8 and he certainly knows it. But that's an effort we're making right now, is to get around and to see more kids in that way. We're using McGruff as just a way to get them to feel happy that law enforcement's around. And then we talk to them about putting healthy things in their body instead of unhealthy things and making good choices. And I can tell you, though, it's kind of sad because every single group, I've always got a half a dozen kids that want to tell me about their parent in jail. And they'll say, my parent's in jail now. And, we try to talk them through that and try to tell them that their parent may be struggling, but there's a way out for them too, and things like that. So that's something we're spending a lot more time on. I'm very proud of that because I think that while it's absolutely essential to incarcerate some of these people for crimes that they commit, and even at times, even if it is solely addiction related, you have to hold them accountable for the crimes they commit. I also believe in treatment, but I believe probably one of the most important things is the education of the really young ones, trying to convince them that, that this is going to kill all their hopes and dreams. I've got a big billboard out here on 250 as you're coming between Midvale and Yorksville. And that's what it says. It shows a bunch of kids sitting there with their shadows representing their dreams, a baseball player, an astronaut, and it just says drugs kills your hopes and dreams. And that's absolutely what I believe. I talk to these individuals in jail. They have no hope for anything in life anymore. Their life has become all about getting their next addiction.
Yeah.
And what's not publicized very much is some of them make it. And I can tell you people right now, 15, 17 years, people who we never thought were going to make it, were incarcerated repeatedly, are clean all those years. There is a way out. It's just it's tough work.
That is tough work. If you can quickly, and I'm surprising you with this a little bit, what is the state of the county? Do you feel pretty positive about the way things are going to trend from here on? I mean, I know we're always going to have speed bumps.
Yeah, well, one of the things I worry about the most is tax revenue. I mean, this pandemic hurt a lot of businesses, and the other thing that really shocks me is we have great values here in Tuscarawas County, but you don't have to look any further than the specific social media sites of restaurants who can't open because they don't have help. And that's bad for two reasons. One, it changes the face of Tuscarawas County, and a lot of wonderful businesses are barely hanging on. And it's that way everywhere. That's certainly not a Tuscarawas County factor. But the second thing is that tells me that if we can't turn that around, we're in for big trouble, because you can have a great education, you can have a lot of other opportunities, but you have to have pride. You have to go to work and do something good for a living. And, many people may think that waiting on a table isn't doing anything good until you're a customer and you've experienced a good waiter or waitress and they make your whole day and they lift your day up. And I think it's very underestimated how much pride and hard work is a part of our society and the reason we thrive. And if we lose that, I think we're in big trouble. Financially right now, there's been a lot of money come towards government via coronavirus funds, but that's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
That's a scary Band-Aid. Right now we're fine. I'm not really worried about right now, but we're worried about that money's going to stop. They're not going to just keep handing out money.
It's our money that we're circling around.
Yeah, we just keep circling it around. It should stop. Absolutely. And I worry about what's going to happen when that does. Now, I have seen some new businesses moving into New Philadelphia here, and that's kind of exciting. I'm very happy about that. But at the same time, I see some businesses, great businesses that have been around for decades, posting signs saying we have to close today, we can't get any help, and that has to stop. We have a people we gotta be there for each other.
Orvis, always good work ethic and pride in your job. We're proud to have you in this morning. Thanks a lot, and keep up the good work. All right.
Thank you, Brad.
We'll have you back again pretty soon.
Okay.
That's Orvis Campbell, the sheriff of Tuscarawas County, our guest this morning on the 8:30 High Beam here on the B Team Morning Show.